Welcome to the show Retire Right by Outlook Money. This episode is brought to you in association with HDFC Pension Management Company Limited, along with Outlook Money. I am Nidhi Sinha, editor, Outlook Money, and today's topic of discussion is the role of NPS in retirement planning. Mr. Sriram Iyer, who's the Chief Executive Officer of HDFC Pension Management Company Limited, is here with us today and he'll shed some light on this topic. In the previous episodes, we've talked about the need for retirement planning, the barriers in this endeavor, what to do in order to prepare yourself and build a robust retirement corpus, besides discussing the two stages of retirement planning that you must consider. As we come to the end of the series with Mr. Iyer, we'll be discussing something which is of very high interest to most of you. That's the National Pension System, or the NPS as it is popularly known as. Now, NPS is a scheme that is mandatory for most government employees and has replaced the old pension scheme. But it is also available to corporate and private employees besides the unorganized sector. In this episode, we'll discuss the nitty-gritty of NPS that can help you decide whether you really want to have this product in your portfolio or not. Welcome, Mr. Iyer, to this episode.
Thank you.
Let's start with demystifying the role of NPS, or the National Pension System, in retirement planning for individuals.
Excellent. So we spoke about the accumulation phase in the earlier episode, right? And in my opinion, and having sort of looked at numerous financial products over the past many years, I'm convinced that the National Pension System, or NPS as it is referred to colloquially, is an absolute must-have in every single portfolio. Now, of course, salaried individuals tend to have a larger tax advantage on account of certain sections in income tax that provide for a higher tax benefit. But irrespective of that, I think NPS is truly a unique product that has some absolutely world-class features, the best-in-class features that a financial product can have, and therefore must play a significant part of one's accumulation journey. Once, when you're wanting to put aside money towards retirement, not just towards retirement, towards creating a reasonable, meaningful corpus over a long period of time, NPS must be the first go-to vehicle. Of course, there are numerous other vehicles that one can and must employ, because it's not a unitary, one product won't solve all your needs. But I am convinced that NPS, and we'll talk about why I feel so, and I'll tell you why I believe NPS is such a powerful product to help you create a meaningful retirement corpus.
So you were talking about the why, of course. So now could you tell us about the main benefits of NPS and why people should invest in it?
There are broadly four. I'll split it up into, and there are numerous features and benefits that accompany an NPS, but I'll not get into the nitty-gritties of it. I'll try and sort of bucket it into four broad segments, right? The first segment is really cost, right? And if you compare NPS with any other actively managed vehicle, the costs and the order of magnitude of difference is 1/20th to 1/30th. I'm going to repeat this. 1/20th to 1/30th of the cost of other comparable actively managed vehicles, right? Now, what does it mean, right? So let's look at NPS. The fund management charges in NPS are between 0.09% to 0.03%. It's a function of the size of assets under management with the pension fund manager, but the highest is 0.09%. Let's take 0.09% for the moment, right? And it comes down to 0.03%, right? Which is 3 paise, right? 3 paise for every 100 rupees of money that is managed, right? That's one cost. There are a couple of other things which come into the cost bucket. There is the transaction fee, which is there, which is again very minuscule. And then there are account opening charges for an NPS account, or a PRAN, Permanent Retirement Account Number, which again are minuscule, right? 200 to 400 rupees is the account opening charges that get levied, right? If I take the fully loaded cost per annum, if you were to assume a 20-year life, if you have a 20-year an NPS account for 20 years, the fully loaded cost for you is going to be less than 0.15%. This is for an actively managed fund, which offers you tremendous amount of flexibility. And we'll talk about flexibility, right? Now, against, let's say, comparable actively managed funds where the cost could be, we spoke about the 20 to 30 times. So the difference in cost is anywhere between 1 to 1.5%. Let's take 1% for the time being, right? Even if you take a 1% difference in cost, what it can do for your corpus at the time of retirement, which is, let's say, 20, 25 years hence, the difference on account of lower cost giving you compounding benefits, right? And a higher cost getting compounded over a period of time because the cost gets levied on the assets under management or the value of the fund, right? And therefore, even costs compound over a period of time.
Right.
You will be shocked to see that the terminal value with an NPS for a similar level of gross returns, and I'm not for a moment saying that the gross returns will necessarily be similar across NPS and other actively managed funds, but for a moment, if we were to take this into account and say that the gross returns between NPS and other actively managed funds is similar or same, the terminal value could be 20 to 25% higher in case of NPS, purely on account of the fact that this is such a low cost product, right? So that's one very, very big advantage that subscribers must be aware of and must take full advantage of. The second factor that I want to highlight is NPS is truly unique from the perspective of the kind of tax advantages that it offers, right? There are two kinds of tax advantages that one can draw out of this. For a self-employed individuals, you could go up to 2 lakh rupees as per under the old tax regime and invest the entire 2 lakhs, 1.5 lakh rupees, which is available across other products as well. But an incremental 50,000 rupees, which is available only for the sake of investing in national pension system, right? So that's a total of 2 lakh rupees, right? So that quantum can go towards NPS and you therefore save depending upon whatever is your tax slab. In case of salaried individuals, the tax advantage is even more compelling, right? And that amounts to 10% of the basic salary of the individual, which gets carved out of the flexi component of the overall compensation and gets contributed towards NPS by the employer, right? There is, of course, an overall cap of 7.5 lakhs across NPS, employee provident fund contribution by the company, and of course superannuation if that is applicable. Superannuation is not, other than PSUs and certain legacy companies, superannuation is not very prevalent any longer. But between employee provident fund and NPS, you could go up to 7.5 lakhs per annum, right? Imagine saving 30% tax if you are in the 30% bracket, 30% tax on all the money that is going towards NPS. And this, by the way, is a market-linked, transparent, unitized product where you know exactly what is the value of your funds on every single day. And you have the ability and the flexibility we spoke about earlier to choose your asset allocation within NPS, right? So one is cost, which we spoke about, the fund management cost and the overall fully loaded cost, including all other costs, custodial and contribution charges and account opening charges, all put together is less than 15 basis points, right? So cost, second is tax, right? So you can save on both of these counts, and therefore over a long period of time, this can add up to a dramatically large amount. That's as far as taking full advantage of both these factors are concerned. The second thing is that if you look at the flexibility that NPS offers, right? Now, NPS is possibly the only product which offers you the ability to change asset allocation 4 times in a year with zero cost implication, zero tax implication, right? It is important for one to understand how significant this is, right? Because if you were to do it independently in other vehicles, there is a tax implication. Every time you come out, there is a tax implication, right? There is a certain amount of capital gains tax that one will have to pay and so on and so forth, right? I don't want to go down that path. But essentially, I'm saying this offers you 4 times. You may not want to use that. By the way, I'm not a big fan of, constantly keep, juggling your asset allocation. It's left to individuals, but, the flexibility is available to you.
Right.
You can change your pension fund managers twice in a year, which means that if you're not happy with fund manager A, you could move to fund manager B, right? Twice a year. Zero cost implication, zero tax implication. Tell me which other product offers this kind of flexibility, right? Now, if you also look at portability, right? There's something called a feature of portability, which means that if you opened the account as a retail investor, you opened it account because you wanted to take advantage of the 50,000 tax advantage that one gets exclusively for NPS, and then you want to, and let's say your company tomorrow is, let's say, launching NPS, corporate NPS as it is called, it is made that available to you as an employee, through the flexi scheme. You can actually port your account from retail to corporate NPS. You move from one employer A to employer B, and if employer B is also, signed on to NPS, corporate NPS, you can move your corporate NPS from employer A to employer B at a click of a button, right? The entire ecosystem is fully digital, right? You have access to an app through which you can do all of these things that I spoke about, just now, right? So it's got a tremendous amount of flexibility that very few other financial products offer. Transparency, every single day you will get to see the NAV. This is a retirement product. You can't get out of it, but you get to know what exactly is happening in your portfolio. Till the last rupee, there is disclosure. You get onto the website of the pension fund management companies and look at the disclosure. We are expected to disclose till the last rupee that is there every month, right? So you know exactly where your money is going, both on equity, corporate bonds, and of course, government securities as well. Also, if you look at the returns that NPS funds have delivered over the last 10 odd years that most of the private sector pension funds have been in existence, and of course the public sector pension funds have been in existence for much longer, you will see that the returns that the pension funds have delivered is fairly compelling, very, very competitive in terms of, when you compare it to other actively managed funds as well, right? On equity, it's upwards of 14.5% compounded for almost 10 years. And I think that data is available publicly, right? So not only is it a very flexible, low-cost product, but it has also done incredibly well over the last 10 years. It's just that, maybe we need to do as an industry a lot more to talk about the efficacies and the positives of the product. And we are seeing a lot of work that the media is doing to help us to, take the word of NPS to more and more people. So those are some of the, but I think I just want to, spend, 2 more minutes, Nidhi, on what I think is the most, powerful feature around NPS, which is that it helps one manage one's behavioral biases, right? All of us are wired to act impulsively, right? And over the last few days, I've been getting calls from friends saying that, listen, we don't know what's going to be the result of this election, whichever way it's going to go. Should we get out of equity? I mean, not that I claim to be an expert. I'm not an expert on equity or any such, not making any such claims, but, people seem to think that I would know more than what they know. And, I mean, this tendency to want to act on your portfolio is very compulsive, right? And all of us tend to do that. NPS as a product, while it offers you ability to move your asset allocation, you can't get out. You can't get out of this product, right? Unlike in a lot of other open-ended, actively managed products where you are free to exit at any point of time. And therefore, we see enough instances of investment return being very different from investor returns, right? And I'm sure you've heard enough about this in your own career, maybe that a fund has delivered 20% return compounded over the last 20 years, but I haven't found a single investor who's earned those 20% because people got in and got out. In NPS, you just can't get out, right? And that's by far the biggest feature that I'm in love with this feature. I just love the fact that you can't get out of this product, right? And if people are not allowed to get out of the product, they will be shocked to see the kind of money that they've made over a period of 20, 25 years. And I'm hoping, and this is just 10, 11 years since this whole corporate NPS and retail NPS is sort of, and it's only picked up pace over the last 2 to 3 years. And I'm very, very sure that over the next 10, 15 years, people who've stayed invested and people who've not stopped contributing to NPS, they're going to be blown away by the kind of corpus that gets created on account of this, magic of compounding and the kind of transparency that this product offers. And also keep in mind that We have our regulator, which is the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, is a very proactive regulator. They are, they monitor, of course, our performance. They give us full freedom to, act within the boundaries that they've defined under the product. But there is a very close, coordination that they do with us. Make sure that we're doing the right things by the subscriber. Extremely, client-centric, subscriber-centric products, and all the other features that I explained to you. I think it's borrowed the best of features from all financial products and put it into one product, and that is NPS for you.
Right. Of course, so many benefits that you've listed just now. And
I'm not even started. By the way, this is just 20% of what this product offers.
Yeah,
But I thought
and
these are the most important ones.
absolutely, and they all stand out actually. You were also talking about flexibility, and in terms of that, one of the benefits that stands out to me in NPS is the number of investing options within one product. So could you tell us a bit about that as well?
Thank you so much for asking that question, because I missed mentioning that in my earlier in the earlier question. In fact, this product offers you two options, right? One is what is called as the active choice option. The active choice option, if you're somebody who says that, listen, I want to keep control of, I want to keep the asset allocation in my control. I will want to decide what asset allocation that I want between equity, corporate bonds, and government securities. You could choose the active choice option, right? Within the active choice option, there is no other limitation other than the fact that you cannot go beyond 75% in equities. So you can go up to 75% in equities and hold on to 75% allocation in equities for howsoever long you want, right? By the way, let's say you've chosen 75% in equity, 10% in corporate bonds, and 15% in government securities. Let's say that's your going in asset allocation. Every birth anniversary, every birth date of yours, if the allocation has gone above 75%, it will pare down the asset allocation from 70, let's say it's moved to 77% because the market ran up, it will pare it down to 75, right? Or if it has gone the other way, it will enhance your allocation from equity to, from fixed income to equity, right? So it's got an automatic rebalancing feature built into the product.
So
right?
the asset
Again,
allocation we were talking about in the last episode,
yes,
perhaps,
yes,
is
it gets
something that
automatically managed,
Yeah.
right? I can tell you there aren't too many products which offer, and this is something which is a part of the system. It's a part of the way the product has been structured. So that's the active choice option, where you are in control of the asset allocation that you would want to make. By the way, we also spoke about the flexibility. You can change that asset allocation 4 times in a year, right? That's your asset allocation. That's your active choice option, where you can go up to 75% in equity. You can choose to be 100% in fixed income as well. Nobody stops you from doing that, right? As you get closer to retirement, you may say that, okay, I want to be completely out of equity. I'll move everything to my corporate bond and government securities. You're free to do that, right? Again, it's free of charge, right? The other option, which is referred to as the auto choice option, right? An auto choice option is also referred to as the life cycle option. There are 3 broad categories available under the auto choice option. There is something called conservative, where the allocation to equity is 25%. Therefore, it is also referred to as a life cycle 25 fund. Then there is the moderate choice option, where the allocation to equity is 50%, and therefore it is also referred to as a life cycle 50 fund. And then there is a third option where the allocation, it's the aggressive option, where the allocation to equity is 75%, and that's referred to as life cycle 75, right? Now, each of these products have an automatic rebalancing feature baked into it. So let's say an individual starts investing under the auto choice option at the age of, let's say, 25. You can start investing from the age of 18, because 18 to 70 is the age when you can get into open an NPS account. Let's say you start at the age of 25 with your first salary. I'm hoping that happens with more and more investors as they learn about this brilliant product. Starting the age of 35, under each of these auto choice option, the allocation to equity will get reset down by a certain percentage point. Let's take the example of moderate, right? Where it's also called as the LC50 allocation, right? From 25 to 35, the fund will make sure, the NPS will make sure that, or the way the structure will make sure that at every birth anniversary, your allocation to equity is 50%, comes back to 50%. That's number one, right? Starting the age of 35 till 55, the allocation to equity will come down from 50 to 10%, such that every single year, so that's a reduction of roughly 40%, or reduction of 40% over a period of 10 years. Every single year from the age of 35 to 55, which is 20 years, the allocation to equity will keep coming down by 2%, right? And this is again an automatic feature that is available in the product, right? So if you're an investor or a subscriber who says, listen, I want to get into this, but I don't want to be bothered about changing my asset allocation and bringing down the risk in the overall portfolio as my age progresses, LC50 or LC75 or LC25, depending upon your age and depending upon what your risk appetite is the go-to option, because it will reduce the risk in the portfolio as you age. This again is automatically rebalanced every birth date of the individual, right? This also happens at zero cost, zero tax, right? Again, a feature which is probably not very well, not enough awareness is there, or not very well understood. And I do hope that we are able to spread awareness of some of these brilliant features like the auto choice and the active choice that we just spoke about, Nidhi. I hope I was able to explain this adequately.
Absolutely. That was amply clear. You spoke about tax benefits in detail, in fact, but something that I feel concerned about is that we all know that the government is slowly moving towards the new tax regime. And if and when it pushes ahead with it completely, do you think that the tax benefits of NPS might become irrelevant and reduce its attractiveness? Because we know that, a lot of people in India, they actually invest only to save taxes.
Absolutely possible, right? I mean, and that's a call that the government will take depending upon what their what their strategy is or what their policy is going to be over a period of time. So in any case, in my opinion, do not enter into a product just because of the tax advantages that it offers, right? Because if you look at the host of other benefits that I explained to you, tax benefit is just one portion of it. Tax benefit, of course, makes it compelling, but
of course, so,
yeah. I mean, imagine and I listed down this long list of benefits or long list of features that it has, and therefore the benefit that it accrues, that it gives you. I do not know what's going to happen. I mean, it's beyond my remit to really comment on that. But even absent that, I think it is still a very, very compelling set of features that are available that one must not miss out on. I spoke about tax. I spoke about cost. I spoke about flexibility. I spoke about the fact that it helps you manage your behavioral biases. All of those are truly unique. And I just want to say again that this product brings the best of features across financial products, and this is and it's sort of embedded into this one product, and therefore I think even without even if there are any changes in the tax laws, this is still should be your go-to vehicle to create a meaningful retirement corpus. By the way, building on this tax benefit, it's an exempt structure, right? So the corpus that you will get at the end of when you choose to, at the age of 60, when you can draw out the corpus, and by the way, you can extend you can defer your withdrawal for as long as you want, right? You can defer your withdrawal up to age of 75, which means that the power of compounding can continue to act on your portfolio beyond 60 as well. So there's no compulsion on you to take out the money at 60. If you so choose, 60% of the corpus is available to you tax-free. Upfront at that point of time. The remaining 40% has to be used for purchase of an annuity, which we spoke about in the earlier episode, which I think is again a fantastic product because it guarantees lifetime fixed cash flow without any reinvestment risk, right? So I think with or without tax breaks, this product, I think, takes the cake when it comes to retirement planning.
Yeah, and I hope our viewers don't just get swayed by the tax benefits, which is often the case, as I was mentioning earlier as well. In fact, all of us know somebody or the other who actually invests just to save taxes. But coming to the end of this episode, I'll ask something that I'm very curious about. And that is that despite so many benefits that NPS offers, the uptake of this product is still not that much. So why is that so according to you, and what can be the way forward?
No, you're absolutely, bang on, Nidhi. I think, while the uptake, it's a product which has been available widely for the last 10, 12 years now. Despite that, the uptake is lower than what it should be for a product which has got so many compelling features and benefits. But I think, what gives us a lot of hope is the changes that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years, right? So if you look at the number of subscriber additions in the last year and the year before, it's been upwards of 1 million. Close to 10 odd lakh new subscribers have got onboarded to the NPS ecosystem, right? Which I think is a very, very positive thing. The other thing that is changing significantly is that the number of corporates that have now started offering corporate NPS to their employees has gone up significantly. In fact, last year, upwards of 2.5 to 2,600 companies signed up, or close to 3,000 companies signed up to offer corporate NPS to their employees. Plus, I think the regulator has also been very proactive in terms of examining the features and keeping their ears to the ground and understanding what are the features that will make this product even more attractive for subscribers. So, for example, the systematic lump sum withdrawal option that was introduced earlier this year is a very powerful feature, right? So, I think all of these features and all of these and as I said, the last couple of years have been very encouraging in terms of the kind of growth that the industry is seen. I think it is incumbent upon us, it is incumbent upon the industry, the pension fund managers, and the points of presence, as and HDFC Pension is both a pension fund manager and a large point of presence. We are seized of this, right? And every single day we are out there talking to employers, talking to individuals, talking to various people in the distribution fraternity about the power of this product. Not a single day goes by without my team and me talking about the powers of this, about the features of NPS to a wide swath of people. And I must tell you that the response has been very, very encouraging, right? And I think with support from the media, with people from with influencers and people who are able to take this word take this to a wider audience, it's only going to the pace is only going to increase. And I think the other thing that we've also done, Nidhi, is we've really looked at the way we communicate, right? I mean, financial services professionals tend to couch everything in complicated jargon, right? That's an ailment that financial services folks suffer from, fortunately. We've tried to simplify the narrative because this is really meant for every single Indian. By the way, it's also open to NRIs, but we are focused on making sure that Indians are retirement ready and they embrace this product and take full advantage of the benefits that this product offers. And I think we are very, very gung-ho, very positive. In fact, the last couple of years, 4 new pension fund managers got added to the industry. So we're very, very excited about the prospects that NPS offers, and HDFC Pension is committed to the task of making Indians retirement ready so that their future sure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Iyer. And for our viewers, I think that was a very, very comprehensive session on NPS. And for those who are considering this as a retirement option in terms of choosing an instrument, I hope they will pay heed and plan accordingly now that they are armed with all the information. On that note, thanks a lot to all of you for watching this episode, and not just this episode, but this series on retirement planning with Mr. Iyer. Thanks a lot, Mr. Iyer, for the detailed explanations, which I'm sure will benefit our viewers immensely.
Insurance is the subject matter of the solicitation.